This is my 1998 Audi A3 1.8 turbo. It's front-wheel drive, it's not S3 or anything like that. As you can see, there's been a few things done to it. Right now it's making about 270, 280 horsepower. I haven't been on a dyno yet after the last few modifications. However, around this horsepower mark, that's where we are right now. So, any owner or anyone who driven Golf Mark IV platform cars, so that's of course Golf Mark IV, first generation A3, I think Seat Leons, Octavia, first generation as well. Those people know that those cars have something wrong with them, with the suspension, especially the wheel hop. Especially in first gear. So when you're trying to do a pull, I don't know, a 0 to 60 or 0 to 100, depends where you live, you will experience quite a lot of wheel hop. And that happens partially because of the lower suspension. Those parts are quite soft, so they induce that wheel hop. However, a lot of that also has to do with the way the engine is suspended. So we've got a one suspension part here, one suspension part under here, and then there is something called dog bone, that's how it's called, which limits the rotational movement back and forth of the engine. It's mounted at the bottom to the suspension. So, because stock this engine moved quite a lot, I already stiffened the dog bone, so the suspension part at the bottom. However, that didn't quite fix the wheel hopping issue. It certainly made it better, however, it's not perfect. So what I'm going to do today is upgrade this little fella. To do that, we are going to be using some power flex, or one power flex part. This little insert. This is an insert for the gearbox mount. It's made out of polyurethane. I think that's how you pronounce it. Basically, it's kind of like rubber, but it's much stiffer. So while it still does absorb some vibrations, its main purpose is to stiffen up any suspension parts or mounts, stuff like that. Okay, however, before we mount the inserts, we are going to fire up the engine, take some footage of how the engine and the gearbox, the entire powertrain moves when we apply throttle with the stock gearbox mount. Alright, so as you can see, there is some movement. On the video it doesn't look that big of a movement. However, this is also because right now we are pretty much idling, just applying a little bit more throttle. We are not generating that much torque. This movement is going to be a little bit bigger when we are under load, so when we are doing a pull, when we are generating all that torque. Alright, so now I'm going to take out the gearbox mount. We're going to apply the gearbox mount insert, and we're going to see if there is any difference. Hopefully there is not too much vibrations inside of the car after. Alright, we got the gearbox mount out. It looks new because it is new. I think I replaced it like 6 months ago. Even though it's new, there's still quite a lot of play in it. So all you have to do is put this insert into these holes. To make our lives a little bit easier, because putting a rubber part into a rubber hole can be quite difficult, we are going to use a grease. However, not just any grease, we are going to use Techstar Hydratech. Full disclaimer, I work for Techstar, so you can use any other grease that doesn't contain mineral oil. That's because we've got inside here rubber parts. Probably it's EPDM rubber, which in contact with mineral oil, it's going to absorb mineral oil. So it's going to swell, it's going to become very soft, it's going to just break. So not a good time. So don't use mineral oil based lubricants. For example, you can use Hydratech. This one doesn't contain mineral oil. it won't harm your rubber. Um, it will just work great. I don't know about polyurethane. I don't know how that works with mineral oil, so can't say to this. However, for these rubber parts, Hydrotech will work great. All right, after a little bit of faffing about, we have installed the insert. Of course, I forgot to record it, but I will insert a picture into the video. But as you can see, maybe I can let me get some light actually. Yeah, those yellow spots is that insert, so it's in there. We reinstalled the mount, so now we can fire it up and see the difference. Well, as you can see, there is pretty much no movement now of the gearbox, the entire powertrain, so hopefully that will improve, well, first of all, the wheel hub, but also the overall feeling of the engine and the power delivery. So I'm gonna go clean up, change my clothes, and go for a drive. Alright guys, it's been a couple of days. I've done a couple of kilometers with the new insert, and while the wheel hub is still there, to some extent at least, it's certainly better. Previously, I would get wheel hop pretty much throughout the entire first gear, so it didn't matter if I pressed the accelerator at 1000 RPM, 5000 RPM, it will always happen. However, now with the insert, I only get it if I start from a complete stop. So if I'm doing a 0 to 60 run, I start too harshly, break the traction straight away, then I still get some wheel hop. However, it is also a little bit softer, let's say. Um, yeah. So is it worth the price? I think so. I paid 36 euros, and that's including shipping from Germany to Poland. So in my opinion, it's not too expensive. Of course, you could say that it's just a piece of rubber. Why is it 36 euros? However, it's polyurethane. It is designed specifically for this car. So yeah, I am happy with the results that I got for those 36 euros. To get rid of the wheel hub completely, I would probably have to stiffen up the suspension bushings. But it's not a race car. I also don't use it as daily. I use it more as a hobby car, so I just drive it from time to time. However, I don't want to have too much vibrations inside of my car when I'm driving around. So, I'm not going to fully race spec the car. It's also, it doesn't really have that much potential to be a race car. With front wheel drive, it's not quattro, so however, yeah, I am pretty happy. I would give this upgrade a solid 8 out of 10. I can honestly recommend it. If you're struggling with wheel hop, you already upgraded your dog bone, so the lower suspension part of the engine, then I think this insert of the gearbox mount is going to help you quite a lot. It is quite tricky to remove the gearbox mount on these cars. However, if you have worked on cars before, it shouldn't take you too much time. There's a little bit of a fuffing about with one or two bolts, but if you have some experience, it shouldn't be too bad. Yeah. All right. Thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions, you can write those in the comments. I'll try to answer them to the best of my knowledge, abilities, and as fast as I can. Yeah. Thanks again for watching. Bye.